Low budget, high production value, cinematic look, all these achieved with only one light. Hi everyone and welcome to another Stocks United tutorial, this time on lighting a set with only one light and getting that sweet cinematic look on a budget. My name is Guy Bukatar and I'm super excited to walk you through two of the most widely used lighting setups, which I'm sure will add to the production value of your footage. Today I'll be using the Aputure 120D, an immensely efficient light source with good daylight quality and plenty of power for most common uses. Want to mention that Aputure did not sponsor this video, it's a light I purchased myself. There are other similar light sources that can work just as fine, so use the one you already have on hand or have access to. Next, we'll need a wide surface bounce board, which can be foam core based, or the more popular 5-in-1 reflector that has a couple of surfaces you can choose from. A bounce board is nothing more than simply a surface that reflects the light flow towards the direction you need. Additionally, you can get a cheap insulating sheet from the hardware store that has a shiny surface which makes an efficient reflector you can cut to the size you need. A white shower curtain that will act as a diffuser, some black fabric and foam core boards will use as negative fill or as flags to control the light spillage on the background. A negative fill, flag or floppy refers to a black surface that blocks or reduces the light from shining or spilling on the parts of the scene you don't want lit. A small size softbox with a honeycomb grid modifier. The honeycomb grid modifier on a softbox reduces the light spreading in all directions and keeps it focused to where it's pointed. And finally, a few light stands and clamps. Light motivation. Perhaps the most important principle when artificially lighting a scene is light motivation. That is, if you have a visible light source in the frame, such as a practical prop like a night lamp or an outside window, you should be lighting the scene from the same direction as these sources with the same Kelvin color temperature. This will contribute to a natural feel of the set, having the shadows cast in the same direction. Ignoring this principle can result in a fake-looking scene where the highlights and shadows will not make logical sense, which further can confuse the viewer. Your intention when artificially lighting a scene should be to support the direction of the possible light sources in the frame. Booklight. This popular lighting method is excellent for lighting indoors where space is an issue. The light source is bounced into a reflector, which then goes through a diffuser like a shower curtain or a bed sheet. They will act as diffusers that spread the light passing through them because of their translucent quality. The result is a soft light wrapping around the subject with gentle highlights to shadow fall off without hot spots on the skin tone. There's no correct way to set up a booklight as long as you keep the reflector and diffusion setup. Usually, you adapt to the space you are working with. Position the light source away from the subject to minimize light leaks, then point it in the reflector which sits at an angle bouncing the light towards your subject. Next, add the diffusion in front of the reflector. From here you can fine-tune the lighting by controlling any possible reflections on the background with black fabric or flags. If the shadow side of your subject is too dark, use a reflector to fill some of the light back. Upstage lighting. This light setup gets its name from the theater stage where the light source is at an angle, usually from above and slightly behind the subject. The result will give a beautiful profile definition because of the contrasty look and background separation, creating drama and depth. Position the light source, preferably with diffusion and grid, to control the light at about 120 degrees away from your camera so you can film your subject from the shadowy side. And as usual, use the bounce board to reflect some of the light back if you want to add more details to the shadows. Or, if you have too much light spilling through, use a negative fill to lower the shadows. Short versus broad key lighting. This is more of a camera versus key light positioning in relation to your subject, but nevertheless a vital principle to master to get a great looking image. The key light is defined as your main illuminator in the scene. Short key lighting, also known as far key, is widely used in cinema to add drama to a subject by filming them at an angle from the opposite side of the light source in relation to their eye line. By doing that, the camera is pointed towards the shadow side of your subject's face, adding more shape and contour to their profile, producing more interest. Contrast that with broad key lighting, where the camera sits on the same side of your subject eye line with the key light, resulting in a more flat-looking image with an even wraparound feel. Well, these are only a few lighting setups from numerous methods and variations that stem from them. As with everything in cinematography, the fastest way of learning is to actually do it and learn the tricks on the spot. Be inspired by great cinematography and study how certain scenes were lit. You'll recognize the ones we've discussed quite widely. Do you have a single light setup you tend to use more often? Let us know in a comment below. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe if you're not yet. With that, I'll see you in the next video.